Hi there, this is Linda Brumbill from Remax Jazz, and this is your market update for February 2025. So lots going on these days with the economy. For one thing, the trade wars between the US and Canada has made the economy a little unstable and the future a little unclear. But we do know that the inflation has returned to target, the interest rates have dropped a few times over, and the economy is kind of going on track. The faith in the housing market always takes a hit when there's a shake in the economy. Makes sense for most people. Their mortgage is their biggest bill and their biggest asset. So usually when the economy hits a bit of a rough patch, the housing market's the first to know. But keep in mind, the housing market is the cornerstone of our economy. So the Bank of Canada and the provincial and federal government isn't going to let it tank. They will step in by changing interest rates or implementing incentives in order to keep the economy afloat. We have no idea what the tariffs are going to do and how those changes are going to affect the economy. But keep in mind, in the meantime, people still get married, they get divorced, have kids, and need to move for other reasons beside the economy. So there still will be a housing market. Who are the winners right now, in my opinion? Buyers. Buyers are the ones that are winning right now. For the last few years, it's been a seller's market, hand down. First time in a long time, we're seeing that market shift. 22, things kind of fell off the map and prices started going down. The losers in all of this were the ones that did buy in 2022 and closed in 2022 right before the market dropped. So for instance, I sold a condo last year. They closed in December. My buyers, they bought that condo here in Oshawa for $415,000. That buyer had bought it in 2022 for $530,000. So he took the hit. They got the deal. The condo market right now is an absolute disaster, especially in Toronto. The biggest market that was hit so far has been the Toronto market. But to be fair, the Toronto market has been the market that's increased the most the last few years. So to be expected, right? Good news for buyers right now is they have the largest selection of homes, and they're more likely to be in a position that they're the only offer going in rather than the multiple offers that we saw in 2020, 2021, and even in the beginning of 2022 before the market slowed down. At the same time, things are in some cases going for multiple offers. It just depends on the strategy of the sellers. We're seeing twofolds in the market right now. Higher end homes tend to list at market, and they're taking offers anytime, and they're hoping to get close to asking or maybe just under asking. We're seeing the lower end market, and keep in mind when I say the lower end market, I mean the $500,000 to $800,000 homes. We're seeing those, in most cases, they're listing just below market. They're taking offers and they're getting just above their asking or above market or at market. So it just depends on strategy, and it just depends on where you are in the market. I could tell you if you're higher end or a condo, in most cases you're listing at market and taking what you can get at this point, unfortunately. So now let's talk numbers, more specifically in the Durham region. So the Durham region market for February saw an increase in listings and a decrease in sales. So I'm looking at my notes because I have to look at the numbers, but the number of new listings in February for Durham was 1,229 with 1,580 current listings. So that makes a total of 2,441 listings for year to date. That's a 19% jump compared to last year's 2,052. The numbers of sales year to date was 1,044 compared to last year's 1,272. So that's an 18% drop in sales. So 19% more listings, 18% less sales. As well, the dollar volume dropped by 19% this year compared to last. So not only were there less sales, more listings, but the sales that did sell were for less money compared to last year. That doesn't go well for higher end homes. On a slightly better note, the average price only dropped 1% from $907 to $897. You think 1%, no big deal, but keep in mind that's still a drop. 1% on a $900,000 home is still $9,000. That's a significant drop if it continues, especially for people that have to renegotiate their mortgage and are close to owing what their house is worth, right? So these are just some general numbers to give you an idea of where the market is going. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to continue to drop. So that's where we stand as of February. In a few weeks, we'll have a March update, and I'll be able to give you some March numbers. Keep in mind, we're looking back and not forward because nobody has a crystal ball, and I can't tell you where the market's going, but it gives you an idea of where we are right now. Again, I think if you're a buyer and you're looking for either to upsize or for your first time home and you don't have a home to sell, now's the time. Now's also the time if you're looking to upsize, because those $1+ million homes are not selling quickly, so you might be able to get a good deal, especially if you have a home maybe in the $600,000 to $800,000 where that market is still pretty strong. You might actually win-win in those cases. So good time to look. Interest rates are down. Doesn't hurt to take a look. If you're thinking about it, give me a call. It's Linda Brumbill, Remax Jazz.